Survivor is a game that is built upon three pillars. Those pillars represent the physical, strategic, and social aspects of the game. For my series, The Pillars of the Game, I will be looking at a season of Survivor and see which players best represent each pillar, and who best touches on all three. I won't overlap players, so while the player who is best overall might also be the best physical player, I will only choose them to represent one of those pillars. In the second season, The Australian Outback, players have started to realize what their own strengths in the game are, and will see some pretty clear choices for each category. Starting with the strategic. The strategic portion represents the player that was making the right decisions to get them to the end, using what advantage they can to get them in the best opportunities to get to the end, whether that's forming the right alliances or properly using an immunity idol. Once again, the winner of the season was very clearly the strategic mind in the game. Sadly, due to Richard winning last time with the strategic game, they didn't want to show Tina in the same way. So we mainly just have to go off of what the other players are saying when they say that she is the mastermind behind a lot of the path to the end for her and Colby. Some moves we can see her make would be moving the vote in episode 4 to be a tie between Mitchell and Keith, knowing that Mitchell would lose on the tiebreaker and that Colby was more willing to drop Mitchell than Jerry. We also know she used an onion alliance as her strategy, with the core being built of herself, Colby, and Keith, and then Jerry and Amber making the outer layer. Some other good strategic players from this season would be Varner, who was discussing bringing someone easily beatable to the end, and Jerry, who was taking every action in the game as a strategic decision. On to the physical portion. The physical portion can also be defined by the challenge beast of the season. Who performed the best in challenges? I will tend to give more weight to the individual challenges, but the tribal challenges will also factor in. This might be the most obvious choice in any season ever, but the choice for physical pillar is clearly Colby. In the tribal portion, the Ogakor tribe actually only won 2 immunities and 2 rewards, but Colby was generally carrying the tribe in all of these challenges. In the post-merge is where he really shines, winning 3 reward challenges and 5 immunity challenges in a row to get to the end. This set a record which he still holds to this day. I don't think there is anyone else that can even come remotely close to challenging him for this pillar in this season. On to the social portion. The social portion of the game represents the player that best connected with others and was most favored by the jury. This player had the trust of the other castaways and could convince others to side with them. For this one, I had to choose between the close friendship of Elizabeth and Roger, with me choosing to go with Elizabeth in the end, seeing as Roger liked her so much that he gave up his game for her to go further. Elizabeth's social game was so strong that Colby, Tina, and Keith broke their onion alliance early to keep her and Roger around longer than Jerry and Amber. She was almost so well liked that she was considered to be kept in place of Keith at the Final Four. It didn't quite work out, but we see Colby certainly thought about it. On to the overall player. The best overall player is the one who best exemplifies a mix of the 3 categories. It could mean they dominated in all 3 categories, or that they were just an okay player, but they utilize each of the 3 pillars to some degree. With players fitting so clearly into each of the other pillars, choosing one player to represent all 3 was very difficult. Of the remaining players, none seemed to have a good amount of each skill. Keith and Jerry were each okay as physical and strategic players, but awful socially. Roger was great socially and strategically, but falters in the physical portion. Varner didn't make it far enough to really prove himself in the individual challenges for the physical portion. Thinking about it though, I think Amber is flawed in each category, but is still the best all-around player. Strategically, she was using a meat shield in Jerry, which got her further than Jerry, but she still didn't use the chance to flip to the Cooches and make it even further than that. Socially, being positioned next to Jerry made her look much better in comparison, but the association with Jerry also kept her from being brought into the core of the Onion Alliance. Physically, she never won anything individual, but down the stretch, she was clearly Colby's toughest competition, coming second or third several times. And despite Ogakor losing more often than not, she always seemed to be doing her part in the tribal challenges. I do think that both Colby and Tina could also be in consideration for the overall player, though they each have flaws in their own games, with Colby making some bad decisions towards the end and Tina faltering in the tribal portion of the challenges, which just left me with Amber as the most balanced player. That covers our three pillars of the game for the second season, Survivor The Australian Outback. Just to recap, that was Tina for strategy, Colby for physical, Elizabeth for social, and Amber as the overall representative. Thank you for watching. This is a fun little exercise in Survivor's players. Look forward to doing this with more seasons to come. Please hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.